You start with one category, and if you want me to suggest a category, the one that's the widest of the open is art, artwork, prints, paintings, that kind of thing. It's wide open. It's everywhere. It's at garage sales. It's at auctions. It's at estate sales. And most people, including myself, won't take the time to really delve into it. Occasionally I'll snag something that I just happen to know a little bit about, but it's wide open. If you were to study that for a while and then just, and I had a friend, a really good friend, you always know his name, and I won't tell it, wanted to do this. And so I tried to get it, I sicked him on with the artwork thing. And I told him, I said, be patient and be a conservative buyer. Don't run out and expect to find a rare item the first Saturday. Wait, be patient. Save your money, learn, be patient, and then when you buy them, I'll put them in one of my antique booths and sell them. Well, he did just the opposite. He was impatient and spent too much money on absolute junk. Then he brought them over to me. And I hung them in my place. And we never sold one. And he got discouraged and he quit. I hate it, but that's just, I failed him as a teacher. I could not get him over that hump. I got to regroup here and do something different. But I'm telling you, there's a lot of money in it. Because if you happen to get the one right one, you might find a number of thousands of dollars. And I'll give you an example. In San Angelo, grew up there, there was an artist that had a studio right on the main Sherwood Way, on the main drag, all of my growing up days, the white homes, stucco building, painted pink. He sold these little paintings in there. Do you remember? You remember anybody? Well, in about the early 80s, he retired. So I go to his retirement safe. He's got little paintings, which I think are terrible, all over the wall. You can borrow them for $5. Bigger ones for $10, blah, blah. So what do? I buy the antique glass display case and the roll top desk that he has. Heck with that art junk. Well, I did okay with the roll top desk and the antique display case. He moves out of there, and then he has one other final sale at his house, and I go to that sale. He's got just dozens of these paintings, and they're really cheap. Same old deal, $10 for the little. So I didn't buy it again. So a few years rock along, and he passes away. His paintings are highly sought. I mean, one like this big, is worth $300, $400, $500, $600. This was several years ago. And no telling, I could have bought all of those for
wishing you had those $5 paintings.
Yeah, the old deal about nothing's worth anything until we got down. So that's exactly what happened in the line. And they're just little, simple, kind of primitive little landscapes. And, they weren't anything special. But the thing is that group of people in San Angelo that I knew then became neighbors, including me. And I remember one day at a storage unit, another antique dealer bought one just right in front of me for nothing. A great big one that's probably worth $600-$700. So the point is, it's always changing, it's always bubbling up, it's always a learning situation. If you found one today, so it's kind of like the Sterling, it says right on them, white homes. Pretty hard to tell. But it's out there, but don't expect to do everything right away. Be kind of patient. And then I want to talk a little bit about what I've been talking about. Don't assume that people know anything. Dealing with dealers, on anything you do, don't assume that any price is firm anywhere. I guess I should have asked Sam's if they'd taken my TV. They probably wouldn't have. Because most dealers are guys and ladies like me that are former collectors of something. And their collecting has got them into business. That's most people, most dealers. And so they oftentimes have a narrow scope of expertise. A lot of times they do. That's why I can buy my stuff at different places, because my scope's different. Each one is different, and I'm here to tell you that I buy a large percent of my resellable things from home. Just like all this stuff I was pointing out. Most of that, it just so happens, most of that I bought from other dealers. I buy off of eBay too. I have to be real careful. I have to take my time. Sometimes I buy a real bargain off of eBay. So, I just want to put these things before you, and I connect this in the fact that we're going to all have to be able to do different things as these changes that we're adjusting to. If Dennis Peacock and all of these guys are right, and we're going into this period where everything is going to be a different place, a different attitude, a different thing than what we know in America, and the high-tech jobs that we have, or the high whatever jobs, or the whatever we may be needing to know how to garden or barter or trade or and these things. And I'm just suggesting to open up your mind to some other possibilities. So if you're going to get started, then you would want to do this: learn the area where you live, and learn who the buyers and the sellers are, learn who the same faces you're seeing as you go out to the garage sales. It didn't take me long to hit San Marcos, and just a little while I knew a couple of ladies that were into that silver jewelry. Because I see their face. Boy, that's the same lady. Go to sell down there, you're the same lady. So then in a few weeks I go to garage sale, this lady had a garage sale. So she's got a bunch of silver jewelry. And I buy from her. So now when I see her, I've got her phone number somewhere. We made, in other words, I made a contact. That if I pursue it, it will work, because she buys and sells and does the silver jewelry. Make your contacts, learn the buyers and sellers in your area. Go to some auctions, watch and see who's buying. If somebody keeps popping their number up, take note of who that is. See who that is. Ask her and say, who's the guy over there buying all stuff? Or who's the lady that's buying all the furniture? Just kind of get acquainted. The flea market's the same way. I go to one or two little flea markets, but in a little while I get to know a few of those dealers, and they know what I'm looking for. And sometimes they'll say, hey, I've got something I want to show you. Come over here. Come look at my stuff. They know that I have a little money that I'm willing to spend it price. And I begin to make contacts. Same way with the estate sales. I've been pretty lax in this because of down here, but learn who's holding the estate sales, and you'll get into the flow. Get on their emailing list, learn which ones do previews, and learn all the ins and outs. Thrift shops the same way. I've made a real good contact with the lady at the thrift shop. She's really a nice lady. I made a deal with her that if she would, just in talking to her, if she would hold back the sterling stuff for me, that I bought for her at a fair price. And I bought 2 or 3 pretty good purchases from her. And she's gotten more than she would have ever thought about putting on them, and I've made a profit on it, a reasonable profit. And so I've kind of got that working. And the same thing with the garage sales and that kind of thing. And then the reference, research your items. If you get an item, you got to research it and figure out what it's worth, just like we're trying to go and whatnot. The reference books are becoming less and less valuable. Now, what I do, I was going to bring, but I used to every year I buy the Covell's, Schroeder's, General Antique guys. I was looking yesterday. I haven't bought one since about 2005. And you know why? The books, by the time I get them, the information's out of date. Now, I keep some of those old books because they help me figure out the model or the pattern number. But the prices, by the time it's published, are at least 3 or 4 months up, maybe 6 months. So I'd rather have eBay prices. You know, on your Hummels. I used to keep a Hummel book to buy mine. And then I price my homes. Well, after eBay, if I've got a Hummel, Feather Yard, or something, or something, now I go look it up on eBay and see what the last few sold for. What they actually, somebody paid for them, plus shipping. So they gave $100 and plus shipping. Well, then I know that that's pretty much what the actual market value. The book may say $200. And I said, well, God, I'm going to be disappointed if I run that on eBay or put it out in my shop at $200. It's going to sit there. You see what I mean? So eBay gives you a pretty good snapshot of what sold last week, 2 weeks ago. So we'll talk a little bit about eBay in here, but the reference books work good in the fact that, like a Hummel book, it gives you the numbers, so you know exactly the marks and all the things, the information, but it's got where the prices in them are not very relevant. Does that make sense? So I've got a Hummel book, but it's probably 10 years old. And I don't pay attention to prices, but I look in there, you know, make sure, or I can see what, you know, the mark. I'm not familiar with which mark to make them in. I don't do them real often, so I have to look up and see how all the marks are. And contact, shopping, and talking, and then eBay is the key. I don't care, boy, you can talk bad mouth them, I get angry at them, they change. Just as you get to learn what they're doing, they change it. I hate that stuff. You know, they change some requirements or something, but if you're going to invest in any kind of a used, even a new market, eBay, you can buy, like if you want a mouse or, y'all probably know this, but if you want a mouse or external hard drive or, you know, anything like that, you can go on eBay and like that projector. I bought that for a team at Office Depot 2 years ago. $469. You can buy one today off of eBay brand new for $269.
I did the same thing with my phone cover that I paid $2.60 for it off of eBay, and if I bought it in the Sprint store, they wanted $21.99. So when he asked me, well, do you want to buy a cover? I'm like, no. That seemed like such a dumb question. I'm like, I'm going to go get on eBay and find it for a tenth of the, you know, why would I? So, yeah.
And it's that way on most everything. I mean, you know, I'm sure there's some things you can't buy an apple or an orange or something, but a lot of things, you know, you'd be surprised. And what's so amazing to me is I find an item that I think is so rare. And I think back about the days before the internet. You were in a little isolated world all your own. You found something, and you know, it was such a unique item. And now I'll go and look at eBay, and there's 5 of them for sale on eBay. Oh, it's not so rare after all. Or if there's not one on there, you know you pretty rare it's something unusual. You know, or if there's only one and it just sold for a good price. Yeah. So you can just bank on it. eBay's the key in the market, I think. And it's a whole world. And I've been pointing people that seem lost as for any financial way to make anything. Oftentimes, if I can, you know, there's a way connected to eBay to get off the mat, so to speak, to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, because you can always sell other people's stuff for a commission or whatever. You know, there's always a way. So eBay's a pretty good outlet. And I tell you, there are some techniques and little tricks if you fool with them a while. You know that it just amazes me how often I buy something. I've bought something off of eBay, taken it out of the box, taken a better picture, put it back on eBay, and sold it instantly. I mean, it's almost instant. So you just learn, if you know your knowledge of your stuff, you watch for bad pictures, erroneous descriptions, poor titles, you know what I'm saying? And then you just redo it. It's out there. So I would highly recommend that you explore eBay. And then I want to discuss something that's really, that wasn't in my list of things to talk about until yesterday morning. In these uncertain times is basically what we've talked about.